you alluded in the conversation talking about sustainability and environmental impact. And I think that's a huge, in the conversation talking about how this will potentially increase focus on sustainable farming. And, you know, how does LeafTech Ag going to be able to help that area out there? I think that's an important thing that we probably should spend a little bit of time on.
This is part of one of the driving forces behind what we're doing is that we have to, again, Ronald Reagan keeps coming back into place. We have to trust but verify. The industry trusts that we're doing the right job because it's our livelihood. We're generationally attached to our land and what we're doing with it. And we assume people get that we are attached to the land and that we really want it to be the most productive. We want to take care of it. We don't want to abuse it. We don't want to do anything that is going to make it worse off than when we received it. And I think from a cultural standpoint, we have the ability to verify that we are taking care of things. We're not over applying. We're putting on just what the plant needs. And that's what we're really focusing our efforts on, is to train people to use the data to their benefit and to our justification. We are such a small minority in the overall population. They are relying upon us to do a lot, but they give us a lot of responsibilities of things that we may not be able to control. And that justification of why we're doing things is going to be thrust upon us. I've worked in other areas. Like I said, I've been out there nationally and internationally and working across different countries and different cultural practices. Water, for instance, is the leading edge that the regulatory compliance they have to go through to apply water in other parts of the country and other parts of the world. It's a heavy lift. There's a lot of reporting that has to be done. You have to have a flow meter on your wells. You have to say why you're doing it, and you're regulated in many areas. And so getting ahead of that to say, here's why we applied these nutrients, here's why we're watching these different characteristics on this plant, gives us the ability to push that information down the food chain for the biggest part, so that we applied what was needed. We didn't over apply. We did what was right. And you can trace it back to the field. You can trace it back to this individual plant at the end of the day, if we so desire, because we have the data all through the growing season. It's documented, independently verified, and it goes all the way up so that the consumer gains more confidence in our ability to deliver a sustainable piece of food that they're consuming, and that we did it right. We just haven't had the ability to document that in a easier way. And that's what I think we're bringing to the marketplace, is taking the expertise of Kristy and her team to quickly, here's what we did. Here's why. Prove us wrong, prove to us that we are terrible land stewards of the land. We're doing what's right to feed you, and here's how we're doing it and why we're doing it. And we just got to get ahead of the curve before they force it down our throats, because you look at what's happened in Europe and with the farmers there, they're pushing them out of business because they assume they're doing it wrong. And our agenda is to protect what we're doing. I'll get off my soapbox now, but I've experienced this regulatory compliance, and it's so onerous for them to take care of, and they expect us to pay the cost of it.
And it's here now. I mean, you look at the, what's happened here in the last 2-3 years,
So this is kind of, we're just, what I believe and what part of our driver of this is, we want to address it instead of being forced to it. And as I said, one of our key goals is democratize the access to data. And whether it's in the first world countries or third world countries, that's what we'll be able to do. And that's what our impact's going to be, of being able to do that. So for go ahead.
John, on that note, with regards to, shall we say, justifying or having the information, there's the top down and then there's the bottom up, and the farmer today has a more risk involved. They're asking how can they watch their budgets. They're wanting to be more efficient and need to be. And I think also we have a newer, younger generation coming in and managing the business by the numbers, maybe a little closer, and maybe even being forced to do that through transitions of farming operations. And so sustainability has to do with both what's happening in the soil, the plant, the animals, and it also has to do with what's happening on the farm. And so these questions of, is this going to work? How are things working? What's our ROI? Should we do this pass? Did it pay? These kinds of things. This ability to have another set of information that's reasonable to look at, that's easy to interpret, and is actionable, I think helps in that sustainability metric by saying, what are we applying and how is it affecting what we're doing? And we are asking and encouraging farmers to go beyond nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium when it comes to managing the crops, or just no-till versus a strip tiller versus a conventional tillage. And as we go forward, these other questions that arise from a biological standpoint or from a micronutrient standpoint or other types of chemistries, even biopesticides, how may they be helping and working to help us grow a better, healthier crop is important. So I encourage the sustainability goes all the way through the crop, into the animal, and into the human. And growing a better crop leads us to a more sustainable method of helping with human and the human and the animal health, which ultimately, right, better food is what we need, right? That's in the discussions today out even for the consumer. And so these are ways that we can show and manage and provide proof that the farmer is moving forward in their management and has data to show for the things they're doing. And so I just see it as another step in both the small and the bigger picture from a sustainability standpoint.
The next set of questions is on industrial adoption and challenges that you guys may be seeing out there. What is the biggest hurdle in getting farmers to adopt to this new technology? It's always interesting, and I find in my world trying to show them that data is important and to understand that. I'm guessing that's probably one of the difficulties you have, but let's hear on your side.
The adoption curve, I've been fortunate to work with several different technologies since 1996. And part of the things I've been part of has been soil moisture monitoring, disease modeling regionally and locally. And how do you get farmers to take a look at something that really is different? And it's about ROI, but it's also about expectations of the technology companies bringing it to the marketplace. I hope that I may have to edit this out, but other industries have done a disservice to the ag side. They expect a quick adoption, and they expect a hockey puck or hockey stick adoption of technologies. And very few non-agricultural people understand that a mistake on a generational business can take them out. And their adoption and risk to do so is justified. Because, if I spend $15,000, yeah, that's not big in the scope of things. But if I make a decision based upon the information I have for that, and I do something that is detrimental to crops this year, it could put us out of business because we're working off of slim margins. So adoption curve needs to be realistic. And part of that says, I'm going to try it. It's a 3 to 5 year deal to get growth. Just as an example, we introduced soil moisture monitoring probes in 1998. and now it's more widely accepted. And we were the very first ones to do it in North America. We had the largest networks that have ever been out there for disease and pest modeling, starting in California in '96. We did regional pest disease indexes. And it's taken a long time for the industry to accept that modeling is good and that will work. So adaptability is that you need to be patient, you need to be supportive. No one picks up technology because they have spare space in their day and in their mind to figure it out. They want an answer, they want it simple, they wanted it yesterday. And as soon as you bring something to them, well, can you do this, this, and this, and this? And you thought you did a really good job, Michael. That, yeah, it does this, but oh, yeah, but you need to do these 6 other things that are in your thing. And I needed to have it yesterday. So that's fun and frustrating. It's like, I got you this really cool thing that nobody's doing right now, but you want me to do more. And so that's kind of the fun thing about what we're doing is that we understand that. And we are not trying to grow exponentially. We are trying to grow in a reasonable manner that we have support and training and a verification that our technology does work, is consistent, and is easily implemented to an answer and an action. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. Our data, does it create an actionable piece of information that someone says yes or no to? They don't want to look at the numbers. Maybe afterwards, you get some weird ones out there that want to look at the spreadsheets and make sure the graphs are all in the right spot. And that's fun. Those are fun people to work with. But at the end of the day, you're running a multi-million-dollar business that depends upon somebody that you trust giving you actionable information. That's our role. And I wish more ag technology companies had the attitude that instead of saying, you guys have been doing it wrong for multiple generations and we're going to solve all your problems with this one new widget or one piece of software, and all you have to do is take it on and learn it and depend upon us, that you have built generations of risk management along the way. Cheryl, Kristy, you're going on the same way. It's like, I wish more people would have that attitude in technologies, is that it's not about the technology, it's about the action derived from it. And how does it make my life easier to some extent and make me feel more confident about the decision I'm making.
Totally understand that. I have the same conversation with clients all the time, looking at the data, and they're saying, well, what does this mean? I said, that's why we need to interpret it to help you figure out what you need to do. So I totally get it. Next area is on partnership and business growth. So both Michael and John, you guys are working together on here, as well as Kristy. How do you feel your business perspectives complement each other, and what kind of training and support are you planning to provide for farmers and agronomists successfully to integrate the LeafTech Ag? And what other new markets or partnerships on the horizon are you looking for LeafTech Ag?
On growth wise, we have purposefully limited our growth. We have a higher demand for the technology than what we're willing to put out in the marketplace. And that's strictly because we have, number one, we want to make sure our technology is working exceptionally well, and that we have a team behind it and we have done our homework. We have taken the time and resources to make sure that training, as I said, as soon as someone receives a scanner from us, there's a QR code that says onboarding. You hit that QR code and there's a Google form that comes in. You fill it out very easily about who you are, where your crops are. We already kind of know this, but it gets into the system. As soon as we get that, you are onboarded with an account. And then immediately after that, you're contacted for training. We do remote training to begin with. You have the scanner in front of you. We run you through that until you understand it. We understand that people, even though you're trained, you're going to forget 70 to 80% of what we taught you the first time. So we repeat back and forth. We put a card in there that says, here's your quick startup. Follow these simple steps. and watch for the light, watch for these things that are fairly straightforward. So that gets you onboarded, shows you how to train. Then we talk about the agronomy of what we're doing, about what's the data density? How am I going to scout this field? How are we going to do these things? That's part of what we're doing. And we're hiring, we've just hired some new people because we're managing our growth that way. And then just like conversations today, we have to strategically align ourselves with people. We cannot do it all. We don't want to do it all. We're going to do our sandbox. It's about pulling our sandboxes up next to each other to make a really cool playground. We will never replicate the relationship that Kristy has with her customers. We don't need to. You've already got it. All we're here is to do is support Kristy and to support Michael in what you guys are in your areas of expertise and what we're doing. Our job is to understand our role and responsibility to you. And because of our cultural background, we know we live it, the farmer. Quite honestly, I've got my father-in-law who's a retired farmer. He's sitting in here working with us right now. So we are a family, truly a generational business that I've got my father-in-law who's retired. He's 80 plus years old. He's in here building scanners and he thinks this is the coolest thing. He was watching us put on nitrogen on wheat with a drone. He was the first farmer. He was the first person in the 1960s to introduce nitrogen to the county. So we've got generational knowledge and expectations of what we've done. He was a trailblazer in Trefland when it came on the market. So our DNA going through that he embedded his beliefs on what we're doing with myself and my brother-in-law and my wife when we got back to the family farm. And my kids they traveled with me. They were on 30-year job interviews. So that they worked with technologies across the world. And so we understand who we work for. We work for the grower and we work to support the people that are in there. So adoption and growth, we are trying to be realistic and we're not chasing a hockey stick of growth. We're going to be good with the people who work with us and we're going to get better. But our vision is, as I stated earlier, our vision is to democratize the access to data, both in first world and third world. And this technology, I believe, is going to make that impact. And the previous things that I've worked on in-field sensing above and below ground has been a journey to bring us to here. We did soil moisture, we did satellite, we did modeling all the way through since 96. And this has been our journey. And we don't farm full time, but this was what our part to impact the ag sector, both beyond what we could have believed that we started back when we were 18 years old and out of high school. It's like, okay, it's been a fun adventure for us. But I hope that answers your question about, we understand strategic partnerships are critical for us to be successful. And our job is to make our customers, ultimately the farmers and people we work with, successful along the way.
Right. Michael, what do you have to add to that?
So from a NewFields Ag perspective, working with Lammers Ag and getting started with them recently, we've come to respect the level of service that Kristy and her team are using in their business model. And so, this fits with us. It fits with Kristy's team in that we really like to consult and we like to educate. And, it seems like it becomes more difficult as we go that, in a sense, to justify the means by which we're here and we're a supplier, or even on to the farmer, meaning farmers seem to want answers. And, we focus on with a full line of biological products and micronutrients, of which can help, right, with these potential issues that may be seen or come up in these fields. Or, the hope is when Kristy's team takes these nutrient scans that there's not problems, that we're doing a good job and we're on track and we're confirming the good work that we've already potentially been doing. So, you get those range of potential answers there. And so from how we support Kristy's businesses, that bringing this technology along with a lineup of products that can help in the nutrient management, that can help in the biological sense, is where we feel that we bring the value, and that the farmer can see that over time, that we have information to help justify the recommendations that we're making, so that they can be more comfortable in going forward with those. So, as a company, NewFields Ag continues to make new planter box products. We continue with products that help from a foliar standpoint on these other passes. And, I'm the kind of person who constantly scouts and sifts for new technology or to help create technology. A long time ago, I helped introduce BT corn and Roundup Ready corn and soybeans back in the DeKalb days, Roundup Ready corn, right? 1997 launch. And then working through technology at Precision Planting with many of the farmers that we work with, bringing that planter pass up to the next level, working with Veris machine technology to improve the mapping of the soils and better assessing those. I learned a great deal was sitting on the tractor and going over the soil and understanding and mapping it. And so coming into this biological space with these innovations, these are things that are helping bring nutrients available. John mentioned nutrients available to the plant. And then even looking in, how do we do better with, say, in-furrow or foliar nutrients that we're putting on? How do we get them into the plant better? And we've got amino acid technology that helps with those things. So we want to help make better decisions and help the farmer know why he's doing what he's doing. And LeafTech Ag helps us do that with the farmer.
Just to add to that, to make it, condense it, what we're about is we're about trying to get proper product selection and placement based upon data. And because proper placement, because all of these nutrients and all of these different products work, but you have to put it in a place that it's going to be the most successful. And that's what we're that's what we're doing, is being able to help with that piece of it. The right product in the right spot.
Oh, great. All right. So this is for all three of you. If you can, in about 1 minute, 1 to 2 minutes, each of you. What is the future of ag tech for you, and what are your final thoughts? There's been a lot of stuff we've gone over here. We've got more than one podcast or whatever you want to call it out of this. It's going to be great. There's a lot of stuff that we can send everybody. What, each one of you, what is the future of ag tech, and what are your final thoughts?
I'll let you guys go first. I'll follow what you guys are doing. Kristy?
Go ahead. Yeah,
for
Kristy,
Lammers Ag.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Kristy.
so for Lammers Ag, it's all about, again, after you listen to these 1 or 2 podcasts, you're going to see how our core values mesh. And I knew that right away when we had our first call, Michael, just how we approach it, and John especially. We have to show up every year. It's a competitive space. It's a competitive space in seed dealership. It's competitive in anything in ag. But I also have always taken the approach that, I want the right kind of partner / farmer. I want them to know exactly what we do here and how we want to be visible partners throughout the whole year, with our customers. And there's still some farms that we don't fit, and that's okay. But we are here to help you. And we're on the ground. We're learning every day. I'm always like, if you're not learning, you're dying. I tell my adult sons that every day. And, for me, I'm so excited to bring another approach of a toolbox, you know, a tool in the toolbox for our customers to use and be able to manage their their investments, their dollars, their, you know, the whole thing. And the stewardship, I think, is so important. John, you touched on that. Because it's only going to get more and more and more. I mean, we're seeing it every day now. I just had a couple of our legal people from Bear that I listen to, and it's just massive. The dollars we spend, the every day, the battles that we fight, just to be able to produce food, you know, right now it's becoming even more challenging. And I think we always have to offer a new way of thinking. So for me, that's, you know, what we do here at Lammers Ag is keep bringing you new ways of thinking and partnering with, you know, vendors and folks like yourself, like you say, Michael, surround yourself with the best people. So that, you know, fortunately for me, I always give it up to, you know, above. I've run into those right people. So I'm so thankful for that. So excited. That's a longer approach, but that's what I see is our customers are going to love it. I'm going to be so busy. It's which I love. I love being out in the field. So.
Well, Kristy, we're excited to partner with your team, and I think that the future from a biological technology standpoint, not just the physical equipment standpoint, is bright, and the software options and opportunities we're coming to are important. And you know, John's done a interesting work on figuring out how to take a physical scanning device and turn it into something that can read what's going on in a plant, and then turning it into data and information that's actionable very quickly. And so we see ag technology continuing to be a place where investment will be made, where companies will grow, where innovation will be brought forth, and then as we develop it in the marketplace, accepts it, yes, there's going to be winners and losers. But we're not stopping and we're not quitting. And John will tell you how he's continuing to build his company when he makes his comments here, and potentially beyond just the scanner, other technologies. So, you know, with how we view things that we bring to the table, linking them up with the data that shows that they work, I think is even more important to us as we go forward. You know, how are we affecting those metrics? How are we affecting plant health? This is an enjoyable path that we're taking together.
Wow, you guys are hard to follow up with. So, you know, the future of ag tech. I've been exceptionally fortunate. Not that I realized it at the time, but fortunate that we've been able to go through these different technology pieces. You know, as I alluded to, when I first got out of college, we were supposed to go back and farm back in the late 70s, early 80s, and you know how that was. And it changed the trajectory of our family and how we were going to be involved in agriculture. And the future of agriculture is that I think people are getting more knowledgeable about data and how it's going to impact. But the hard part has been action behind the data. Mm-hmm. And that's where we've been spending a lot of attention to, and why we have slowed our growth from the excitement, this is really cool, to what is the end game of delivering action behind it and managing risk. And those are the two key components from a cultural standpoint, is action and risk management. And, you know, the technologies that we've worked with, we have a sensing technology that literally is not available anyplace else because we're leading the edge with it. And it's the spectral signatures of so many different things, biological. And we chose nutrients and other crop characteristics that we're releasing this year to identify things that we can manage and understand the interrelationship. We have never been able to understand quantitatively the dynamic differences of a growing plant from week to week, or literally from day to day, of how does it move nutrients through and how much is it removing from the soil column underneath it. That excites us, that we're going to get a fundamental shift in understanding, and we can do it in the real world. We don't have to wait for the universities or anybody else to tell us what we think we know. We can actually see it, touch it, feel it, and process it right there. And that's empowering to our whole ecosystem of, we have data that is changing. The advent, and this is kind of going back a little bit, the advent of the internet has given us democratized access to data and information that we can learn things very quickly. We can share across different pipelines of people. Like what we're working at from our standpoint is creating a almost reinventing or resurrecting the coffee shop,
Yeah.
but doing it like this. We can get people who are innovators and just talk about what's going on. That is what we're about, what we're going to be doing as our resources and our access gets out there, like you're doing with the podcast. You're sitting at the coffee shop doing a podcast. You're just talking about stuff at the coffee shop. And that's kind of where that was kind of a fun thing growing up, doing that. And that everyone's gotten so decentralized that I think we want to come in. Gotten so centralized, we want to decentralize that data access and sharing of information amongst our key people that we can learn a lot. So the future of ag tech is the ability to share the data and the information and not try to be everything to everybody and to be proprietary. The open source and the open conversations is what needs to occur. And that's what we're trying to promote and trying to love the partnership that I consider that we would have with you, Kristy, and also with NewFields, is that here's the information we're learning. We don't have all the answers. I'm also an animal nutritionist and an agronomist, and the similarities between the soil and a ruminant are so great. The bugs makes the plant grow. The bugs in a ruminant makes them grow too. And so there's such a crossover that we start learning the bugs matter, but measuring the results in real time really help a lot. So from an future of ag tech, I think we're going to see more companies like ours pop up, these smaller companies that aren't supported or generated by the large ag retailers or the ag companies that kind of control the messaging. I think you started it out, Michael, and you said that this is what changed the trajectory of the election maybe this year, is that these independent podcasters were able to influence and have a 3-hour conversation with somebody instead of a soundbite. We aren't going to be the gatekeepers of information are becoming less because the gatekeeper is the internet. The main universities or the large ag chem companies or all the other groups who kind of held that information to themselves, we can start sharing out there. So I think data and information sharing is going to be the next big thing for ag tech. That, are we getting it right? Are we serving the right people? And is our direction and our motives the same? And that's what excites us about it. And, yes, we are a family business, but we are able to pull in some really fantastic talent. And as you said, I've been blessed by the fact that I've had contacts out. I've got people coming to work for me that I've worked with in other areas. They have patiently been waiting on us to get to where we are. Now I can hire them full time, and that we're going to be growing into that. And these are just fantastic people. We have people in our company, my kids, we're a meritocracy. You got to earn your spot and you're held accountable. but you have the freedom to create and do something different. And that's what we're trying to have in this company and that we are creating. So I hope that answers the question. That I see smaller companies having a larger impact. I see that companies like ours who do have that we're grounded in the culture and the industry. We've been here for generations, and we want it to be generational rather than, hey, I've got this new great technology. We're going to throw billions of dollars into it and hope it works, and the farmers don't adopt it because that never was the intent. Our intent is that, and where we're going to is that we want to empower the people making the decisions to be successful, and with the added idea that we have to earn our spot every day. That's our driving manner, is that we have to earn it, and we're going to stumble. We have in the past. We've had Michael's team has been patient. We try to grow, and we appreciate that, and everybody does with the best they can. But at the end of the day, that's what our focus is doing what's right, and give us a little grace, and I think we'll deliver a lot more in the future with it, and work with, like I said, bringing people together and just start talking. We'll solve a lot of problems, and you don't have to be a PhD or an expert in some things. We're gonna do more in the next few years than what's happened in the last 40. That's kind of what I'm excited about. So I wish I was 15 years younger, but hey, that's what the other kids are for. So,
John, your comments there bring up to me an important shall we say concept, in that with all of what ag tech and technology can do, and with the limitations that there still are on it, what I don't think will change is the idea of someone like Kristy sitting in the important seat of being the trusted advisor. So what we find is that even with more information and better analysis, the young ladies that she's going to have going and doing some key work to get that information, they're going to provide that visual, that there's still an intuition that goes into what we do, even with the data. So I think that the improving the skill sets of ourselves and the teams that we work with are going to be an important piece of ag technology management as we go forward, right? There's a lot of things to wade through. There's potentially a lot of confusing information to wade through. And something that I've seen a little bit is, we get into, there's all the social media, there's all the emails, there's all the newsletters, there's all the reports out there, and how many people's inboxes fill with 10 or 15 or 20 things, and now we can't even absorb it all.
right.
And so I think we're going to move a little bit back into where, hey, Kristy, just help me figure this out. Or, hey, John, just help me figure this out. What does this mean? And so getting all that disparate information with the technologies out there it's still going to come back to being a trusted advisor. And how I look at it and vision it is I talk about, to whether it's my resellers or a company that we work with, is hey, I don't have to be the only guy that sits at the table. I don't have to be the only person that you buy something from. However, I think we deserve a seat at the table, if your boardroom table, Mr. Farmer or whoever, because of what you need from an advisement standpoint for what we know. And so applied knowledge, applied correctly, helps win the day. A lot of knowledge is just a book on a shelf or something stuck in an email. And so the trusted advisor, I don't think will go away no matter what we get with ag technology going forward.
To add to that a little bit, the thing that I think is really undervalued, we have the talk of AI, and we think that that's going to solve all of our issues. And generational knowledge is not easily captured and put into an AI. I've learned, that I've been fortunate to work with a grandfather and a father-in-law and all past farmers of if you paid attention while you were working with them, you learned a lot. And we're not going to be able to train an AI a multi-generational knowledge of what worked in the past, because I'm quickly finding out what was old is new again. Oh, applying manure as a biofertilizer is pretty good idea. Huh. Wonder who did that a millennia ago. And so that's what I start looking at. I mean, there's a big push for AI. The dollars are going into AI. Everybody thinks it's going to solve everything. And this is the third or fourth cycle of technology that's going to solve everything. We're going to have robotics. We're going to have satellite imagery. We're going to have imagery that's going to solve all the problems. And people forget the past. And so what's coming in ag, we're going to see a lot of stuff regurgitated. We're going to have false promises being put out there. AI is going to solve everything. Gene splicing is going to solve everything. It's like when you start getting enough white hair, you start understanding. And same thing with learning from generational people. It's back to basics.
I just was going to say that, John.
It's back to basics.
Yes.
And what the good Lord put in the ground, there was a intelligent design that went into it. And sometimes we think we're smarter than that intelligent design. And that's what I think is really important. We have to be a little humble about it. Don't get me wrong. We're going to be using AI. We are using AI. We are using it to process the trillions of data points that we've already collected, because it just makes sense. But we still have to train it. We still have to try and say, this is what we're looking for a little bit. And that's what's going to be fun, that these things are coming on, this processing capability. But I think because of AI, because of the high-speed communications portals that we have, the internet, high-speed internet, are going to decentralize the knowledge. That we've got some bright people out there that have forgotten more than I'm ever going to learn. And you just need to be able to share it across geographical distances. And that's what's fun. And it's those relationships you can build. And maybe, not too distant future, you might even be able to see each other face to face, but go on from there. But this is just so much fun and exciting as we go through. The gatekeepers are becoming less and less of information and of processes. And we couldn't have done what we've done without access to the internet, without access to communicating with people in different countries. And part of our design team lived in Australia. It's like, cool. I never would have, they were part of a group that I worked with before, and they helped us with some other things. And it's like, it's just so exciting. And yeah, so ag tech is going to change. There's going to be people putting billions of dollars in stuff that is highly promised, but when you get back to it, we got to get back to basics and make it easier for us to implement.